Liverpool fans, it's happening again. And I'm trying to figure out how the hell have you ended up in this predicament following what just happened with Trent Alexander-Arnold? How is it that you are about to let another star player possibly leave for free? I'm very confused by Liverpool's board. These guys have got to be some of the most competent, incompetent people that we have running a football club. These guys have just had a phenomenal season. They won the Premier League underneath Arne Slot in his first season, and then the summer window came, and they're on fire right now. Like, they are on smoke. They got Florian Wirtz, Jeremy Frimpong. They also got Milos Kerkez, and they're looking at bringing in other players as well. And that's all fantastic. But on the other side, they let Trent, Van Dijk, and Mo Salah all run their contracts down to the last second. Now, Van Dijk and Salah ended up signing an extension, but you see that Trent has left. He joined Real Madrid for free. And now, even though they're making some big moves in the summer window, and I think Liverpool are the favorites to win the Prem next season, you got one of your main defenders, Konate, who only has 12 months left. And according to the reports that's coming out, this guy is not trying to sign a new contract. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. Because we all know what Liverpool should do, and that's force him out the door this summer. If he's not trying to sign a new deal, you cannot allow him to begin the next season at your club. I think Liverpool are in a unique situation because generally the players have all the leverage when they only have a year left on their deal. But because next summer is the World Cup, Liverpool could threaten to not play him. And then he ends up not making that World Cup squad for France. So it's going to be a power struggle. And maybe he will end up signing a new deal. But the fact that Konaté's contract is in the last 12 months is a disgrace. While they were working on Van Dijk, Salah, and Trent's new deals to keep them, they should have also been working on Konaté's so that they didn't have to worry about this heading into the summer and possibly heading into next season. But we got to talk about it because there's a lot of big clubs that are in the mix to possibly sign Konaté if his contract does run down. We're talking about Real Madrid, PSG, and Barcelona. Liverpool, do not make that same mistake again. We're going to look at the reports, and then we're going to talk about these three clubs, and I want to know what you guys think in terms of what would be the best fit for this player. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those post notifications. Let's get it. For the last few months, I've been seeing reports about Konaté leaving Liverpool, and it's always been him getting linked to Real Madrid. You guys know, once a big name player's contract is running down, everybody just throws our name into the rumor because it's believable with how we've been moving over the last few seasons. And I do believe that the club have genuine interest in a player like Konaté. He's one of the better defenders in the world, right? Him and Van Dijk have been one of the best defensive duos in world football for a few years now. So it makes sense, right? He's French as well. We got a French core. Papa Perez is probably behind the scenes pulling some strings. But the rumors are now starting to pick up a lot. And I think people expected Konaté to sign a new contract by now. Because Liverpool would have been offering him a deal way before this summer window came. Because nobody wants an important player of theirs to only have a year left. Because now, if they do leave, you're not going to even get as much money for them as what they are actually worth. So I think people are starting to suspect that Konaté is trying to run down his contract and pull a Trent Alexander-Arnold. I'm going to be real. Before we even get into it by looking at some of the reports and talking about the best fits if he does leave, nobody should be blamed here but Liverpool's board if they allow this guy to leave for free. That would be incompetence to the highest level. I don't understand who is in charge at that club for making sure that these new deals get signed? How is it that you find yourself in another situation where a very valuable asset only has a year left? That to me is unacceptable. Once a player gets to 2 years left on their deal, if they're not trying to extend, they should be forced out the club. Now, I think there is a good possibility that he does end up staying at Liverpool. But with some of the clubs that are being mentioned for his signature, his head can definitely be turned because they're all more attractive, in my opinion, than the club that he's currently at. Now, a very popular ITK on Twitter has come out and dropped this report saying Konate has been offered to Real Madrid, PSG, and more clubs in 2026. Talks on a new contract have stalled, and the French center back is keen on a new challenge. Konate favors Real Madrid. I want to also show you guys this report that says Konate prefers to join Real Madrid next summer. PSG and Barça are also interested, but his preference is Real Madrid. Now, whether you guys believe his preference is Madrid or not, I definitely think we are looking at this player because our defense does need to get strengthened, especially when you consider that, Rudiger's not getting any younger. He's battling injuries. David Alaba is not getting any younger, and he can't stay fit. Eder Militao, the guy is coming off of a torn ACL. So, yeah, I think the defense is going to be a priority for the next few windows. And I think Konate next to Dean Howson would be a good center-back partnership. On top of that, we also have a bunch of French players. We are French FC, Mbappe, Camavinga, Tchouameni, Ferland Mendy. They're probably all talking to this guy about what it's like at Real Madrid. Trent, his former teammate at Liverpool, is now also at Real Madrid. So he would be very comfortable at the club. And I could see this deal happening. I would take Konate on a free transfer, of course. This player is worth, in my opinion, about 60 million, 60, 70 M's in between that price range. And you could get him for free. That would be great business, right? Of course, I think any club in the world that needs defenders would take Konate, especially on a free. Now, I think if you look at what's going on at Liverpool, right? Here's their wage structure. And what threw me off was that when I'm looking at how much players are making, Konate is only on $70,000 a week. That is nothing. There's no way that Liverpool have him on less than $100,000 a week when this man is out here starting every single week. He's a big reason why Liverpool are very good defensively. Now, I know that Van Dijk is the main man, right? Van Dijk is one of the best center backs that we've seen. World-class, generational kind of player. But I think Liverpool should have given Konate a new contract from time ago. I know that he didn't have the best season in 22-23, but regardless, they still should have offered him a new deal just so that they didn't find themselves in this kind of predicament. But Liverpool's wage structure is actually pretty nice, to be honest. And I mean, to have Konate on $70K for so long, that is a bargain. But he probably feels underappreciated. And I wonder why the contract talks have stalled between him and Liverpool. I think Konate should be asking for between $180K a week to, I'd say, maybe like $200,000 a week. He's a starter for Liverpool. He also starts for France as well. He's their second best defender. It makes sense to me. Because it's being reported that that's around the salary that that's the weekly wage that he wants. So I don't understand. Like, are Liverpool not trying to pay Konate a fair wage? Like, do they hope that he goes from 70K to only 100K? As of right now, Konate holds most of the power. Because if he leaves for free, he's going to get a fat bag from another club. Because they're not going to have to buy him. So they're going to give him a nice signing on bonus. And they're going to be able to give him much higher wages than what Liverpool are probably offering him. And when I'm looking at, this is crazy, 70K a week for Konate. Wow. Yeah, no, that's wild. That's wild. He definitely does need an upgrade. Now, we talked about Real Madrid, right? But other clubs are in for him. Now, me personally, I think he ends up at PSG. I think PSG just makes a little bit more sense. Now, I don't think PSG are more attractive than Real Madrid. But when I'm looking at the three clubs that are in for him, between Real Madrid, PSG, and Barca, if I had to make a prediction in terms of how it goes, I'd say PSG 1, Real Madrid 2, Barca 3. Now, this ITK that I've been following for a while, the guy is very credible. Big up your damn self, my guy. He usually gets things right. But he revealed a few days ago, before Santi came out and made the report, that PSG are looking at Konate. And the reason why I think that it makes sense for him to go there is because PSG are arguably the best team in the world right now. PSG are also from France, right? Ibrahima Konaté is French. He'd be playing with a bunch of his international teammates. And PSG's defense also does need a little bit of a retooling. Marquinhos is not getting any younger, and the guy might either leave this summer or the next. And I think Konate could start for PSG. And I think it'd be attractive to him to start for the best team from his home country that just won their first UCL. Like, PSG's team is phenomenal. What Luis Enrique is doing over there is fantastic. And I think he'd be more appreciated at PSG than what he would be at Real Madrid. I think Real Madrid's main target is Saliba. I don't think it's Konate. I think we would definitely sign Konate, right? I mean, how could you say no if he's free? But I think Saliba is the main target. And I think Dean Howson is going to be a locked-on starter for Real Madrid. Whereas if we do sign Saliba, I think Konate might be the odd man out. And also, I think Liverpool, if he's not going to sign a new contract, I do believe they will force him out of the club this summer. And I think PSG will faster pay Liverpool for him now, whereas Real Madrid would like to wait. Does that make sense? Right? So let's see what this report is saying, right? PSG have held talks with Konate's agent over a potential move in the future, sources have confirmed. Sources have also confirmed that PSG have talked to Konate's agent to discuss the possibilities of a potential move in the future. Both this summer and next summer, possibilities were discussed. PSG are huge fans of Konate and would love him to return to France and play for PSG. Luis Enrique and Luis Campos like Konate. It is believed that Konate is open to joining PSG if the terms and agreements were right. However, Liverpool will be his priority. Okay. As of today, there's no contract offer on the table. Also, no negotiations or talks between PSG and Liverpool over a potential move. It's not advanced or anything important, just initial talks. PSG preferred to sign Konate next summer on a free after his contract expires rather than this summer. But situation can change if an opportunity arrives. A contract renewal with Liverpool is a priority for Konate, but only at the right value and terms, as he knows the important clubs like PSG and Real Madrid are also interested in signing him. An important situation to follow. PSG believe they will be the front runners for a potential deal if Konate is available. Liverpool want to renew him. Other clubs like Real Madrid are also an option. Open situation. We also have one more report that says, as informed exclusively, Konate's agent had talked to PSG with also interest from Real Madrid, now been confirmed. However, I believe Konate has not made a decision to leave Liverpool as of now. He will make the decision soon regarding his future after talking to his agent and family. Konate is a professional. He will give full priority to Liverpool. However, as informed, he will only agree to a renewal on the right terms that he believes he is valued at. If both parties agree that an agreement is not possible, he will be ready to leave with immediate effect if the club asks him to leave. He doesn't want to cause issues for Liverpool, and the club wants him to cash in. He will help the club. So it's an interesting situation that we have going on. And to just kind of talk about the last club that has been thrown in the mix in the report is Barcelona. Now, look, we all know that Barca are an elite club, right? Like, Barcelona They had a fantastic season underneath Hansi Flick. They won the domestic treble. And yeah, they are going to be on the market for defenders as well, right? Because I don't think Inigo Martinez is a long-term option. And I don't think Ronald Arroyo would be able to fit in Hansi Flick's system. But at the same time, I don't think that Konate can fit in a Hansi Flick system. Like this high line, having to be very good on the ball. Like Konate is a big physical center back, right? He's not really on the ball kind of player, like what Hansi Flick might want from his center backs to, build up from the back. But at the same time, I just don't think that Barcelona at the moment are more attractive than a Real Madrid or more attractive than a PSG if you're a Konate, right? Both those clubs have a lot of players that he's familiar with. The only French player at Barcelona, I believe, is Koundé, unless I'm forgetting someone else, right? And I don't think that Barcelona will even have the funds to compete with the PSG or Real Madrid in terms of wage and also in terms of a signing on bonus. And these guys struggle to register players anyways. But we'll keep an eye on this situation. Liverpool, you absolutely have to sell this guy if he's not trying to extend his contract. You cannot allow him to enter next season playing. Right? You have to, this guy's got to be barred from the first team dressing room. You have to make sure that his key access don't work. You got to force him out. The regular World Cup is next summer. I would tell Konate, if you don't leave, you will not play and you will not be in that World Cup. He's going to want to play for France in that tournament. Liverpool do have some power here. But let's just see what they do. Get in the comment section. Let me know what club you think Konate should go to. Or do you think he does end up staying at Liverpool? Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those post notifications.